Assalamu alaikum. In today's session, we are going to discuss various important concepts that are related to the debt crisis being experienced by the developing countries in the world. So, if we look back into the history, we see that in 1975, the total external debt which was being owed by the developing countries amounted to be $180 billion, which increased to $406 billion in 1979. So, in just a period of 5 years, we see that the total external debt of the developing countries almost more than doubled. Similarly, if we look at the debt servicing values for the same time period, we see that the debt servicing amount made by the developing countries rose from $25 billion to $75 billion. So, it indicated that the debt servicing increased by 3 times. However, the total external debt which was being owed by the developing countries during the same time period almost more than doubled from 180 to $406 billion. So, if we continue moving on further until now, we see that the total amount or the total external debt and the debt servicing which is being made by these developing countries is continuously increasing, and the overall rate of increase is pretty alarming. So, it is therefore important to see that what are the important aspects or the relevant features that are there. We need to investigate and understand in order to have a better picture that how can we provide relief to the developing countries in order to overcome these issues that could be related to because of this extremely large debt burden which is falling upon the developing countries. So, we know that primarily because the overall potential of production may be higher in these countries that are the developing countries, but the overall total production of these countries is relatively low as compared to the overall needs that are there, because we see that in these countries large concentration of population are observed. So, or they are based in these parts of the world which are considered to be less developed or developing. So, we see that in order to overcome these deficits that they experience in the budgets, because the revenues which the government generate and the expenditures which these government make, we always find a gap between them, and in most of the countries the gap is pretty rising. So, in order to overcome this gap and in addition to that, we also observe that they experience a huge, large increasing gap in terms of the balance of payments, where the total receipts which the developing countries owe to the external market and the total income which they earn from the external market, that we also see that there is a deficit in that as well. So, in order to satisfy these two deficits in the budget and the balance of payment, they need money. So, gradually, since they have been borrowing money from external sources, from external international funding agencies, from some developed nations as well, from the governments of these developed countries or the rich countries. So, this amount has been accumulated over time, and the rate of interest which is being charged on it, although it is considered to be pretty softer as compared to the rates of interest that are charged on loans that are borrowed for the commercial purposes, but we see that the amount of the total external debt which is being owed by altogether all the developing countries has reached a staggering level and a very big level. So, therefore, it is necessary to see that what are the various types of tactics that have been developed over time in order to overcome or provide some sort of relief to these developing countries. So, as long as these tactics are concerned, this is what we are going to discuss in this session. So, there are various tactics that have been developed over time so that the developing countries that are considered to be experiencing this debt burden heavily, how some sort of relief can be provided to these countries. So, then we are going to discuss another important concept which is used in the context of debt burden and debt crisis, etc. That is called the ODS debt. So, we will be talking about what is meant by ODS debt and how several things have been developed that can help us in overcoming or preventing the ODS debt. And then eventually we are going to discuss that since this debt crisis has occurred and and we see that in 2007-2008, the world experienced a global financial crisis as well. So how the developing countries have fared as a consequence of that happening of the financial crisis of 2007 and 2008. And it is important to understand that once a financial crisis happens, although we saw that during that time when it was there happening all across the globe, the experts or the theorists of development economics identified that the major brunt of this financial crisis is going to be experienced by the developed nations in particular. But later on we saw that the developing countries also felt the bad consequences of this financial crisis that happened in 2007 and in the beginning of 2008. So this is the last thing we will be talking about in today's session. So from all this discussion we have made so far, there are certain things which we derive, and out of those so many things which we have derived, I am going to just summarize the major points which we have discussed so far pertaining to this concept of debt crisis and debt burden as far as the developing countries are concerned. So we say that once this debt crisis occurs, it is not a one-time thing or a one-time crisis. The overall consequence of such a crisis happen, if it has happened somewhere in the past, with the overall consequences, the negative consequences of such crisis happening in the past do not get over immediately or in a year or so. They just keep on lingering on. So this is what we have observed. And another important thing is that particularly in the context of the countries that have been declared as the highly indebted poor countries, you must have seen this term in the newspapers, and you must have heard about this term also when some development economists discuss various issues that are pertaining to the poor countries or the developing countries in particular. So we see that there are these countries that are declared as the heavily indebted poor countries, HIPCs. So we see that once this debt crisis happened, it had lots and lots of negative consequences on all the developing countries. But if we look in particular to in the context of the HIPCs or the heavily indebted poor countries, we see that the negative consequences were very severe and bitter for these countries in particular. So there have been certain initiatives that have been made in order to help or facilitate these heavily indebted poor countries, but still we see that they are living in some very horrible kind of situations where the amount they owe is very big as compared to what they are able to generate on yearly basis. So another important thing which we have inferred or which we learn from all the discussion we have made earlier, that helps us in understanding that if the countries try to figure out those countries or those cases where actually debt burden crisis had a larger negative implications, it gets really hard for the developed nations to come up with real solutions for those countries in particular. So the solution or the remedial measures get delayed. So it is therefore important to identify the things and identify the negativities linked up with this debt crisis in a quicker way, and these kinds of strategies need to be evolved and developed, through which the developed nations should be able enough, or the donor agencies or the setups that have been developed, whose purpose is to facilitate the people who are in trouble or who are developing, or where the large majority of people are concentrated in very low income groups. So the strategies need to be developed by these agencies whose objective is to facilitate or fasten the process of development where we see that poverty-struck people are in a greater concentration. So that type of strategies will definitely facilitate in identifying and rectifying the negative consequences that are there as a consequence of the debt burden we discussed earlier that happened in 1980s in particular. And then we saw the same kind of situation appeared in 2007 and 2008 as well. So another important thing which we have identified through through the discussions we have made so far, that include that public sector or the governments need to deal carefully with the lenders' free rider problems. So they need to oversee and look into the things properly and strategize or make up the policies accordingly through which this free rider problem can be eradicated. So as long as this free rider problem is concerned, we see that if suppose what is meant by, you must be thinking what is meant by a free rider problem. So I'm just going to revise this concept. By a free rider problem, we mean that if somebody is able to consume or utilize a certain resource for which the payment which has been made by that particular individual was lesser than the share which he should have made in order to consume or utilize that particular service. For example, if we talk about an individual who has paid the taxes to the government in a very little amount, or who has tried to evade the taxes, and he is enjoying the services that are being rendered by the government in the form of some defense or some like, for example, the electricity is in the streets is being provided, or the roads are being constructed, or some national transport system has been set up, or some railway structure has been built up by the government, and this particular individual is enjoying the facilities that have been that are there set up by the government, run by the government. But as long as the tax share made by this individual is relatively, when we look at the tax share or the tax contribution made by this particular individual, that turns out to be relatively smaller as compared to the fair share of the total contribution which he should have made. So then he is enjoying the facilities that have been developed or structured or initiated or followed by the government sector. But as long as his contribution in monetary terms, or the payment which he is making, is relatively smaller than the utility or the advantage of that particular facility, then we say that there is this free rider problem. So we say that as long as the lenders are concerned in the context of this borrowing and lending is concerned, so the lenders enjoy to a greater extent this free ride. Therefore, the public sector in particular should strategize in such a way where this problem of free rider need to be curtailed to a greater extent, and that would certainly help the local public to derive maximum advantage of whatever loans they have borrowed from the external sources. So in addition to that, we also saw that it is important that whenever the borrowing or loans are being taken from the foreign external sources or foreign donor agencies, then the government needs to ensure that whatever money is coming in, that needs to be invested properly in the productive utility or productive usage, so that the actual benefits or the real benefits can be derived by borrowing. And if that money gets wasted, naturally it is not going to contribute in enhancing the growth process in the developing country. Rather, that causes a dent on the whatever revenues have been generated by the government. And because you need to repay, if not today, then tomorrow you have to repay the amount which you have borrowed for the enhancement of the growth process or for the enhancement of the production capacity in a certain country. But if you are not utilizing it for the enhancement or expansion of the production capacity, you have just wasted it in some other ways, on some other non-developmental expenditures. Then when you will be repaying, you will have to repay it from whatever little income which you have generated. So that instead of facilitating you, that could be causing lots and lots of problems for that particular developing country. At the same time, we also saw that from whatever discussion we have made so far, that the private sector cannot be expected to finance investment that is needed for proper expansion of a developing country, because they do not have sufficient resources. So that means that in that kind of a situation, provided that you are a developing country or a low income or falling in a low income category, then we cannot exclusively rely on the private sector, the local private sector that is there in this country. You have to rely on the external sources. So if the reliance is going to be made on the external sources, then there should be some strategy that need to be developed that can ensure that whatever borrowing you are making, whatever loans are coming, or foreign direct investment is coming to your country, that should be utilized in a proper, effective way, and the objectives of the developmental of that economy in order to fasten the process of development in the developing country should be focused upon when they are borrowing money from the external sources, and the money should be utilized in a better way and in an efficient way, and the leakages should be minimized. So all these things can be monitored in a better way if the government foresees and sees that how this money, which eventually they are going to borrow from the external sources, can be utilized in a productive and efficient way. So the things which I am going to discuss now include the various tactics that have been developed so far for the debt relief. So I just discussed several issues on the magnanimous amount of external foreign debt that is there as long as the developing countries are concerned. So over time we saw that several tactics have been developed by the developing countries, by the experts in that come up with the various kinds of ideas and strategies. They have come up with these solutions that if they follow the given ways or techniques, they will be able to facilitate the developing countries in order to overcome this problem of huge debts or rising debts. So out of these so many tactics, one is the debtors cartel. So what sometimes people have experienced is that all the major borrowers or the developing countries which have borrowed a lot of money from the external sources, they form a cartel, and through that formation of a cartel they can dictate their terms and conditions to the donor agencies or the organizations that are set up, such as we have World Bank and IMF. So they can tell these donor agencies or organizations to follow certain sets of rules, or they can instruct to restructure the loans and the terms and the conditions that are associated with the loans. So we've got this concept of debtors cartel, which can be helpful in order to get the loans restructured, or in order to get the terms and conditions, rules and regulations that dictate the type of loan or the interest rate or the schedule of repayments and they get it softened by putting a pressure, by forming a cartel on these donor organizations. So in addition to that, there is another very commonly observed technique of restructuring, which we have seen that developing countries request these organizations from where they have borrowed money or from where they are intending to borrow further money, that they should restructure the loans which have already been borrowed or they are expecting to borrow in future. And by restructuring, what they do is they try to increase the number of installments, or they try to reduce the interest rate which is being levied on these various forms of loans that are given to these developing countries. So whenever the restructuring is done, these donor agencies or donor organizations put certain conditionalities that you have to satisfy these conditions, only then softer conditions will be levied on you as long as this particular loan is concerned. So this is how the restructuring can be observed, and we have seen that even in the case of Pakistan, we have requested IMF several times to restructure the loans because we find it hard to follow the terms and conditions that are associated or linked up with a certain package which we go for in terms of various types of loans which we have borrowed so far. So in addition to that, we have got another related term which is used as a debt relief, and that is the Brady Plan. And this particular program was initiated in 1989, and the overall plan said that total size of outstanding developing country commercial debt should be changed, and they converted into the private debt. They requested the IMF and the World Bank to restructure the thing, and they requested them to forgive the huge amounts of debt. So the overall amounts which the developing country owed to the private banks, which was whatever loan that was borrowed from these private banks under the guarantee provided by IMF and World Bank. So it was requested to these private banks to forgive some amount of the debt, because the developing countries, or the countries who have borrowed these loans, found it hard to repay the total amount. And then some of the loans were converted into the equities, also in the form of stocks and bonds, etc. Other two tactics that have been followed by the developing countries in order to overcome this debt burden is the debt for equity swap and the debt for nature swap. So जहाँ तक debt for equity swap की टेक्निक है का मतलब है, by debt for equity swap we mean that if suppose we are talking about a country जिसके पास बहुत ढेर सारा लोन इकट्ठा हो गया है, that needs to be repaid. So उस बहुत बड़ी अमाउंट को कम करने के लिए what they do is वो लोन को स्वैप कर देते हैं या कन्वर्ट कर देते हैं इनटू एक्विटीज, यानी कि जिनसे आपने लोन लेना है आप उनको एक्विटी का या शेयर होल्डर बना देते हैं अपने कोई भी सेटअप का. जैसे कोई पब्लिक एंटरप्राइजेज हैं किसी भी कंट्री में, या स्टेट ओन्ड एंटरप्राइजेज हैं एसओईज, तो उसमें आप एक्विटी यानी कि शेयर का मालिक बना देते हैं बजाय आप लोन को वापस करें. तो इससे क्या होता है इन कंट्रीज को फ़ायदा कि वो अपनी जो बहुत बड़ी ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ लोन है उसमें से कुछ हिस्सा को एक्विटी के टर्म्स में ट्रांसफ़र करके या स्वैप करके अपनी टोटल लोन जो कि टू बी पेड लोन होती है उसकी अमाउंट को कम करने में उनको मदद मिलती है. एट द सेम टाइम वी हैव सीन दैट इन सर्टन कंट्रीज this concept of debt for nature swap has also been followed, जहाँ again loan की जो to be paid amount है that is relatively big. तो what they do is they follow this debt for nature swap. So by the term nature we mean that आप क्या करते हैं कि आप ने ढेर सारा लोन बोरो किया हुआ है, and instead of repaying it to the donor agency, जो भी आपने donor institution से या suppose IMF से आपने पैसे लिए हुए हैं, तो आपकी जो वो लोन है that is purchased by some NGO जो कि एनवायरमेंटल कंजर्वेशन पे काम कर रही है, या जैसे WWF है. सो व्हाट दे डू इज दैट दे बाय योर लोन एंड दे रिक्वायर यू टू स्पेंड, इंस्टेड ऑफ पेइंग देम इंस्टेड ऑफ मेकिंग द रीपेमेंट्स ऑफ द लोन्स, दे रिक्वायर द गवर्नमेंट हु हैज बोरोड दिस लोन कि वो अपने एनवायरमेंटल कंजर्वेशन के लिए या एनवायरमेंटल डिग्रेडेशन को रोकने के लिए एक्सपेंडिचर्स को इनकर करे बजाय के लोन की किस्तों को वापस देने के लिए. सो वही जो पैसे जो आपने लोन की किस्तें वापस करनी है, आप एक तो जब आप डेट फॉर नेचर स्वैप कर रहे हैं तो आपने अपने डेट को नेचर कंजर्वेशन एक्सपेंडिचर के टर्म्स में स्वैप कर दिया है, बदल दिया है. सो दिस इज अगैन अनदर स्ट्रैटेजी. सो व्हेन वी लुक एट द ओवरऑल लाइक इन द रियलिटी, हमें डेट फॉर इक्विटी स्वैप की जो प्रोपेंसिटी है या प्रोपोर्शन है वो रिलेटिवली लार्ज मिलती है एज कंपेयर टू डेट फॉर नेचर स्वैप. सो वी सी दैट all across the globe in the developing countries there are very few such evidences where we observe that WWF has come or certain other organizations or NGOs have come and they have offered this debt for nature swap to the developing countries, where they have like promoted this concept of conservation of the environmental capital या environment protection के लिए उन्होंने बोला कि आपको debt relief हम देते हैं कि आप वापस पैसे नहीं करें या उतने अमाउंट पैसे नहीं नहीं करें, हम आपको डेट का रिलीफ दे रहे हैं, अमाउंट को मिनिमाइज कर दिया है आपके जो द अमाउंट विच यू ओ, बट वी आर पुटिंग दिस कंडीशन ऑन यू दैट इंस्टेड ऑफ रीपेइंग द लोन्स यू नाउ स्टार्ट स्पेंडिंग द सेम amount of money on the conservation of your natural resources or environmental protection के ऊपर. So these are the various things which we have discussed, जो कि हम आइडेंटिफाई किए, हमने ओवरऑल पूरे दुनिया में देखा जहाँ जहाँ डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज़ के ऊपर डेट बर्डन बहुत ज़्यादा है, उनमें बहुत सारे ऐसे तरीके उस बर्डन को रिड्यूस करने के लिए निकाले गए, और जिनमें हमने कुछ जो तरीके अहम हैं जो बहुत ज़्यादा हैपन होते हुए देखने को मिल रहे हैं हमें, हमने उनको डिस्कस किया, जिनमें हमने डिस्कस किया कि देयर कुड बी अ पॉसिबिलिटी कि डेटर जो सारे के सारे कर्ज लिए हुए मुल्क हैं, उनमें से कुछ मुल्क आपस में कार्टेल बना के अपने पसंदीदा टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस को फॉलो कराने के लिए प्रेशराइज करते हैं डोनर एजेंसीज को या डोनर इंस्टीट्यूशंस को. देन वी डिस्कस के देयर कुड बी दिस पॉसिबिलिटी, जो हमने ब्रैडी प्लान देखा, जिसमें आपने अगैन वी ऑब्जर्व कि अगर हम बहुत पास्ट में जाएं, सो वी सॉ दैट इट वाज ओनली द गवर्नमेंट्स जहां से हम जो डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज थे वो बोरो करते थे, अमीर मुल्कों की या डेवलप्ड नेशन की गवर्नमेंट से आप पैसे को बोरो कर रहे थे. फिर हमारे पास दो इम्पॉर्टेंट इंस्टीट्यूशंस पैदा हुए 1944 ऑनवर्ड्स, हमने देखा ब्रेटन वुड्स के साथ के बाद हमने देखा कि IMF was developed, and then we saw that World Bank was also there, जो कि IBRD की developed form है. So the objective of World Bank and the objective of IMF is to facilitate the people who need money, and they are the governments who need money and they are in trouble. So वो अपनी restructuring के लिए और development के लिए if they are looking for some money, तो IMF और World Bank basically उनको पैसे देते हैं अपने उस मसाइल में से निकलने के वास्ते. And again अगर जो borrow करके बैठी हुई हैं countries, developing countries mostly, अगर वो repay नहीं कर सक रहे हैं according to the terms and the conditions and the schedule of payments, then the conditions that are laid down by IMF and World Bank, जो भी आपने जिन terms and conditions पे लिया है, वो gradually stringent या hard या harsh हो जाते हैं developing countries के ऊपर. तो अभी क्या हुआ कि हमने जब देखा कि there were certain countries, for example अगर हम highly indebted poor countries देखें, जो कि total 36 countries हैं, जिनमें से majority countries concentrated हैं अफ्रीका के अंदर. So इस तरह के जब हालात में कोई countries बैठे हुए हों जो बताएं आपने डोनर एजेंसीज को कि इट इज डिफिकल्ट फॉर अस टू पे बैक द लोन because overall economic position does not allow us कि हम इतने huge amount को अपने बजट में से निकाल के आपका डेट को सर्विस करें, तो फिर वो आपके रीस्ट्रक्चर या रीशेड्यूल कर देते हैं. या समटाइम्स गवर्नमेंट्स आस्क दीज डोनर ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस कि हमें मजीद पैसे चाहिए अपने कारोबार को चलाने के लिए या इकोनॉमी को रन करने के वास्ते या आपके लोन को वापस करने के लिए. सो इन दैट काइंड ऑफ अ सिचुएशन द लोन्स आर रीस्ट्रक्चर्ड एंड द टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस दैट आर फॉलोड when you are going to give loans to these countries, they become they are further softened. उसको मजीद आसान कर दिया जाता है ताकि ये जो developing countries हैं ये आसानी के साथ वापस पैसा कर सकें जो उन्होंने लोन्स लिए हैं. बट अगैन वी सी दैट पीपल से दैट द डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज हैव दिस चांस ऑफ रिप्यूटेशन कि इट विल बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर ऑल दीज कंट्रीज टू रीपे ऑल द लोन्स दैट हैव बीन बोरोड सो फार. बट वी सी दैट देयर आर uneven performances of different developing countries. Some of the countries do well, some of the countries do worse than what they were doing earlier. So there are mixed kinds of like evidences जो कि हमें बताती हैं कुछ कंट्रीज तो अपने डेट्स को प्रॉपरली रीपे करने में कामयाब हो जाती हैं, बट स्टिल वी सी दैट देयर आर लार्जर कंसंट्रेशन ऑफ कंट्रीज जहां दे फाइंड इट हार्ड टू रीपे द अमाउंट व्हिच दे हैव बोरोड सो फार. So debt से related एक और important term which I mentioned in the beginning that we are going to discuss today is the concept of ODS debt. So जिस तरह से रियल वर्ल्ड में हम समझते हैं कि अगर किसी ने आपको प्रेशराइज करके एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पे साइन कराया तो लीगली उसकी कोई अहमियत या उसकी कोई हैसियत नहीं होती है. सिमिलरली डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में ये कॉन्सेप्ट को इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया है जिसको हम ODS डेट बोलते हैं कि वो कंट्रीज जहां डेमोक्रेटिक गवर्नमेंट नहीं है और वहाँ कोई मिलिट्री रिजीम आया है या कोई डिक्टेटरशिप थी, और डिक्टेटरशिप के थ्रू जो गवर्नमेंट है, डिक्टेटर की गवर्नमेंट है, उसने सोसाइटी के लोगों के वेलफेयर के बजाय अपने ज़ाती मफाद के लिए को बेहतर करने के लिए जो लोन्स लिए हैं एक्सटर्नल सोर्सेज से, दैट टाइप ऑफ अ डेट cannot be considered as the debt which is owed by the nation. That type of debt is called the odious debt. और जिस तरह से आपको प्रेशराइज करके अगर किसी ने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइन कराया है उसकी लीगल कोई हैसियत नहीं है, सिमिलरली ओडियस डेट के लिए भी जो एक्सपर्ट्स ने ओडियस डेट की टर्म को क्वाइन किया है और जो इस पर्टिकुलर कॉन्सेप्ट को उन्होंने एक्सप्लेन किया है, अकॉर्डिंग टू देम इस तरह से लिया गया डेट या लोन जिम्मेदारी नहीं है उस मुल्क के लोगों की कि वो उसको रीपे करें, ये पर्सनल लोन समझा जाएगा और अकॉर्डिंग टू देम दिस ओडीएस डेट विल बी कंसिडर्ड एज अ पर्सनल लोन, उस डिक्टेटर का पर्सनल लोन समझा जाएगा और जो सब्सिक्वेंट गवर्नमेंट्स आएंगे उसके बाद में उनके ऊपर जिम्मेदारी ना ठहराई जाए अकॉर्डिंग टू द पीपल हु हैव प्रेजेंटेड दिस कॉन्सेप्ट, एंड दे से दैट ये उस इंडिविजुअल के एसेट्स में से निकाल के आप रीपे करें, आप गवर्नमेंट के ऊपर जिम्मेदारी नहीं डाल सकते जो उसके आने के बाद डिक्टेटर के बाद की गवर्नमेंट है या उस मुल्क के रहने वाले अवाम है उनसे आप ये डेट नहीं ले सकते. सो इस ओडीएस डेट को प्रिवेंट करने के लिए दे हैव कम अप विद सर्टेन वे आउट्स और स्ट्रैटेजीज. सो वन सच स्ट्रैटेजी says that there need to be a proper organization at the global level, at an international level. So like UN, they need to develop an organization which should inspect and consider that whatever loan, if suppose some country is going to borrow money from these donor organizations such as IMF फॉर एग्जाम्पल या कोई और ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से अगर वो बोरो करने का रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा है, तो ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन विल मॉनिटर दैट व्हाट आर द डिटेल्स ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट डेमोक्रेटिक है, डिक्टेटरशिप है वहाँ फॉलो हो रहा. सो ये सारे चीज़ें चेक करने के बाद उनकी लोन को सैंक्शन होना चाहिए. सो इफ they do not, this particular organization do not approve that this government who has requested to borrow a certain amount of money does not qualify or does not satisfy the conditions, therefore in that kind of a situation no loan to such a government should be given where it has been observed that the borrowed money will be utilized for the personal advantage or for the personal benefit of the government, जो कि suppose किसी dictator की government है, and the borrowed money will not be used for the welfare of the society or the social welfare of the people living in that country. So if they say, the presenters of this particular concept say that if it is not possible to set up an organization at an international level whose job should be to identify whether the debt is an odious debt or an ordinary debt, then at least UN should look into these kinds of matters and see that such type of things should not take place, और ऐसे के loans extend नहीं हो जहाँ loan पर्सनल बेनिफिट के लिए या अपनी गवर्नमेंट के इन्फ्लुएंस को बढ़ाने के लिए इस्तेमाल हो बजाय इसके कि सोशल वेलफेयर के लिए इस्तेमाल हो. सो दिस इज समथिंग विच was very much related to the thing which we were talking as long as the debt burden and the debt crisis and the debt related issues are concerned. So I thought of discussing this term with you and the ways that have been presented in order to how the overall negativity of this odious debt or odious debt का happening को कैसे रोका जा सकता है, how we can prevent a debt to be an odious debt. So the thing which we will be talking about now is the resolution of the 1980s and the 1990s debt crisis and the continued vulnerabilities. So as I mentioned earlier that when we saw the implications or the negative consequences of the debt crisis that happened in 1980s, उससे हम देखते हैं कि हमारे डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज के ऊपर कुछ ना कुछ उसके नेगेटिव कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस हैपन तो हुए, कुछ नेगेटिव असरात हमें देखने को मिलते हैं डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में, मगर एज लॉन्ग एज द हाईली इंडेटेड पुअर कंट्रीज आर कंसर्न, वहाँ डेट बर्डन की जो इन्फ्लुएंस है, नेगेटिव इन्फ्लुएंस है या जो हालात को ख़राब करने में कंट्रीब्यूशन है, दैट इज़ सिवियरली बिग। और उस चीज़ को ओवरकम करने के लिए what the donor agencies did was they tried to investigate that कौन सी ऐसे countries हैं जहां डेट की क्वांटिटी बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाने की वजह से इकोनॉमी काइंड ऑफ स्टैग्नेट कर गई है। तो वी सॉ दैट आउट ऑफ द 36 countries, 4 countries qualified in the real sense that they need to be facilitated by providing them a big relief as long as the total amount which they owe to the donor agencies. So जो donor agencies थे उन्होंने उनको बहुत ज़्यादा extent तक डेट का रिलीफ दिया, उनके कर्जों को माफ़ कर दिया, because they realized that it is impossible for these countries, heavily indebted poor countries, to repay the amount which they have borrowed in the past. So but overall in the when we look at all the developing countries, we see that because developing countries के पास इतना पैसा नहीं होता कि वो डेट क्राइसिस से जो नेगेटिव इफेक्ट आते हैं उसको ओवरकम करे जल्दी से, so we say that they are considered to be more vulnerable to the negative effects of this debt crisis happening, and then we see that they find it hard to get rid of it, the negativities that have occurred because of this debt crisis, और उनका जो पूरे का पूरा growth process है that become relatively slower because of this thing that has happened in the past. So we altogether see that जो आपकी imbalances हैं, जहां हम देखते हैं कि जो आपका total deficits हैं in the balance of payment in particular, so it is not only relevant to the developing countries. We see that there are a number of developed nations also जहां आपकी जो deficit है balance of payment की, that is continuously rising, और जो deficit है that has gone to so very high level कि वो काफ़ी alarming वाली level पे चला गया है. And again, it is important to see that when we talk about the deficits in the balance of payment, ज़्यादातर लोग ये समझते हैं कि जो डेफिसिट है बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट का वो करंट अकाउंट की वजह से होता है, और करंट अकाउंट के कंपोनेंट्स हमने डिस्कस किए थे. मेजर कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ करंट अकाउंट एज अ कंपोनेंट ऑफ बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट इंक्लूड द एक्सपोर्ट्स एंड द इंपोर्ट्स ऑफ द विजिबल एंड द इनविजिबल थिंग्स, गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज दोनों को हम इंक्लूड करके एक्सपोर्ट और इंपोर्ट को अकाउंट फॉर करते हैं. सो इट इज़ जनरली बिलीव्ड कि जब हम बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट की डेफिसिट की बात करते हैं तो इसका मतलब है कि करंट अकाउंट में ज़्यादा deficit होती है. But when we look at the data sets of the developing countries and the developed nations, उसकी deficits की अगर हम detail में जाएं तो we see that it's not only the current account deficit that results in a huge deficit in the balance of payment, capital account की deficits भी काफ़ी हद तक बहुत ज़्यादा contribute करती हैं, particularly developing countries के context में, जो कि वाइडन करती हैं गैप को बिटवीन द रिसीट्स एंड द पेमेंट्स. सो और बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट को ख़राब करने में not only the current account is contributing, we see that in certain parts of the world the capital account is also contributing strongly in order to increase the deficit in the balance of payment. और वी नो कि हम कैपिटल अकाउंट में जो नेट टोटल इन्वेस्टमेंट्स होते हैं, लोन्स होते हैं, ये सब चीज़ें अकाउंट फॉर करते हैं. सो जब हम डेवलपिंग कंट्री में देखते हैं, अगर कोई डेवलपिंग कंट्री अपने बजट डेफिसिट को ओवरकम करने के वास्ते या बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट के डेफिसिट को ओवरकम करने के लिए या दोनों के डेफिसिट को ओवरकम करने के लिए बोरोइंग कर रही है, तो लोन तो हमने बोला कि हम इसको पॉजिटिव लेने जा रहे हैं बिकॉज हम इसको रिसीव करने जा रहे हैं. मगर जब आपकी लोन एक्यूमुलेट होती चली जाएगी वक्त के साथ साथ, तो आपने रीपेमेंट करनी है इंटरेस्ट की भी, और उसके साथ में जो आपका प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट है उसकी भी कोई इंस्टॉलमेंट आपने रीपे करनी है. सो जो डेट सर्विसिंग होगा, जो आप पैसे पे करेंगे लोन को वापस करने के वास्ते 1 साल के अंदर, दैट कुड मेक अप अ लार्ज अमाउंट ऑफ मनी, या फॉरेन एक्सचेंज की बहुत ढेर सारी अमाउंट बन सकती है, जिसकी वजह से हमने देखा कि कैपिटल अकाउंट में भी हमें डेफिसिट देखने को मिलता है इन दीज कंट्रीज व्हिच हैव बीन बोरोइंग अ लॉट ऑफ मनी इन द पास्ट, और वो एक्यूमुलेट होती ढेर सारी मनी बन जाती है, और जब आप उसको वापस करने जा रहे होते हैं तो जो आपकी पेमेंट है कैपिटल अकाउंट के अंदर वो बड़ी हो जाती है एज कम्पेयर टू द रिसीट्स विच यू आर हैविंग. सो एज अ रिजल्ट वी सी दैट डेफिसिट अकर्स इन द कैपिटल अकाउंट एंड दैट मे ऑल्सो ब्लो अप द डेफिसिट इन द बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट. यानी कि कैपिटल अकाउंट में तो आपकी डेफिसिट थी कि आप वो गरीब कंट्री थी, आपने एक्सपोर्ट बहुत थोड़े से किए प्राइमरी कमोडिटीज़ को, आपने इम्पोर्ट किया, बहुत ढेर सारी मशीनरी, रॉ मटेरियल एक्सेट्रा, और उससे आपकी जो करंट अकाउंट थी उसमें डेफिसिट आ गई. मगर जब आपने ढेर सारा कर्जा वापस किया, आपके ढेर सारी डॉलर बाहर चली गई फॉरेन एक्सचेंज के फॉर्म में, और जो लोन्स और ग्रांट्स आपको मिली, आपके पास प्राइवेट डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट जो हुआ, फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट हुआ, बाहर से जो पैसा आपके घर में आया, दैट वाज कंसिडर्ड टू बी, सपोज दैट वाज लो एज कंपेयर टू हाउ मच अमाउंट, द टोटल अमाउंट विच यू हैव पेड इन द फॉर्म ऑफ वन इंस्टॉलमेंट, जो आपने लोन वापस किया, लोन की किस्त दी वापस, डेट सर्विसिंग किया, तो उससे आपकी जो बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट में काफ़ी बड़ा फ्लक्चुएशन आ जाता है, डेफिसिट काफ़ी ब्लो कर जाती है. सो वी सी दैट दीज काइंड ऑफ things happen and they are experienced by the developing countries, and therefore developing countries are considered to be more vulnerable to the negativities that can be observed as the consequence of this debt burden, of increasing debt burden. So as long as the overall performance of the economies is concerned, the developing countries in particular, हमने देखा कि 1980s के बाद में consequences उसके चेक किए. फिर अभी हम देख सकते हैं कि जिस तरह जब 2007-2008 में जब financial crisis आई globally, तो we saw that, and theorists of the development economics also identified that the negativities or the slowing down of the economy is considered to be higher in the developed nations, particularly in European countries and in USA, as compared to what the slowing down of the economies was observed in 2007 and in the beginning of 2008 in the developing countries. But later on we saw that जो developed nations थे वो अपनी strong economies की वजह से financial crisis के ऊपर काबू पाने में ज़रा strongly उससे काबू पाया. मगर जो हम developing countries को देखते हैं तो 2008 के end में से लेके onwards we observe that they are experiencing, the developing countries are experiencing a lot of problems. And if we overall look at the total economic growth that took place from 2008 onwards in the developing countries, so we see that comparatively the growth process has slowed down in the developing countries because of this financial crisis that happened in the beginning of 2007 and in the initial months of 2008. So overall economic growth process has slowed down in the developing countries. Then we also see that the exports have considerably gone down because of the financial crisis, and only in 2009 we observed that the exports have gone down by 14.4%. So in addition to that, we see that they have experienced a lot of other problems also. I'm talking about the developing countries. So they observed that because of this financial crisis, the foreign investment inflows that got down significantly. The stock markets performed really bad in the beginning of the financial crisis in the developing countries, but gradually later on we observed then they picked up later on and the overall stock prices went up. But initially, if we look at the performance of the stock market right after the financial crisis, we observed a strong, significant downward movement in the stock markets in the developing countries. So another important variable which we observe as a consequence of this financial crisis that happened in 2007 is the amount of the total foreign aid that was given to the developing countries. So we see that there was a significant decline in the total foreign aid that was given by the developed nations to the developing countries after the occurrence of financial crisis, because they diverted their funds towards the rehabilitation or the development of their own markets. So we see that there was a sharp decline as long as the foreign aid is concerned, which was being given to the developing countries after the occurrence of 2007-2008 financial crisis. So we see that the overall performance of these developing countries turned out to be pretty uneven if we look at the consequence of the financial crisis. So we see that China did pretty well after the financial crisis, but same is with India. But if we look at the performance of the countries that are situated in Africa, we observe that the economic process or the growth process in these countries wasn't good at all, and we see that the poverty levels increased because of this financial crisis, and we also saw that the income disparities also rose to a greater extent. Same thing is observed in the context of Latin American countries, but as long as some of the East Asian countries are concerned, they kind of like took it as an advantage कि वहाँ पे हमें काफ़ी एक्टिविटी बढ़ी हुई देखने को मिलती है because of this financial crisis. So we see that overall globally there was a dip because of the financial crisis, but some of the countries fared very well once this financial crisis happened. And if we look at the overall picture of the world, we see that as long as the future prospects are concerned, people believe that whenever a crisis happens, that then there are possibilities that a number of new opportunities emerge. So if some of the countries are having problem, we see that at the same time there could be some number of other countries which may be doing pretty fine as compared to what the other countries are performing in terms of the economic performance is concerned. So when we look at the recovery and stability process that is taking place all across the globe, I would like to take an example of a Chinese term which is YG. So Chinese ज़बान में crisis को YG बोलते हैं. So Y का मतलब है कि कोई peril या मुसीबत आ गई है, और G का मतलब है opportunity. So they take crisis in Chinese language, or the Chinese people take crisis as a combination of two things. They take it as something that has happened, something bad has happened, और साथ ही में जो एक और combination उसको बोलते हैं JIG, that indicates that opportunity is there. So if according to their interpretations, the Chinese interpretation, so whenever a peril or a bad thing happens, in the wake of that bad thing, they see an opportunity appearing or emerging as well. So अगर हम चाइना की परफॉर्मेंस को देखें, particularly financial crisis के बाद की, तो हम देखते हैं कि they have like kind of followed this particular concept of experiencing a peril in the form of financial crisis, but they have taken it as an opportunity कि उन्होंने अपने exports को और अपने industrial sector को और अपनी overall economy को इस तरह से channel किया है कि they have managed to perform in a very productive way, that they have like kind of taken it up as a challenge or as an opportunity कि since the Western countries or the European countries are experiencing problems because of this financial crisis, but we need to take it up as an opportunity of excelling in terms of the total exports to the world. And suppose अभी जैसे मैंने आपको बोला कि जब हमने Western countries का देखा या यूरोप में देखा, तो we observed that the experience because of this financial crisis उनके exports जो हैं वो काफ़ी significantly decline कर गए, मगर इस particular decline को opportunity लिया चाइना ने, और हमने देखा कि because of that वहाँ अगर behave अच्छा नहीं कर रहे थे industrial setup, या they were experiencing certain problems, then China rose and they managed to take it as an opportunity कि उन्होंने जहाँ gap बना था कि the European firms were suppose unable to satisfy the global needs of certain things because of this problem which was going on in their countries. तो अभी उस particular gap को fulfill किया चाइना ने, साउथ ईस्ट एशिया के कंट्रीज़ ने, जिनमें साउथ कोरिया, ताइवान इन particularly शामिल हैं, and they contributed significantly in enhancing their exports, and they managed to generate a large level of profits also. उनका GNI देखेंगे अगर इस time period के बाद के के लिए और उनकी ग्रोथ रेट को हम देखें तो दे ऑल इंडिकेट दैट दे हैव फेयर्ड प्रिटी वेल एंड टुगेदर we see prosperity and like increasing growth rates of the economies, particularly when we look at China and Southeast Asian countries, the 4 Asian tigers which I sometimes take up as the example. So हम देखते हैं कि पूरी जो वर्ल्ड है, आप डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज को देखेंगे अलहदा से, डेवलप नेशंस को अलहदा से देखें या सब लोगों को, सब कंट्रीज को मिला के देखें, तो वी ऑब्जर्व दैट बिकॉज ऑफ दी सो मेनी रैपिड चेंजेस दैट हैव टेकन प्लेस इन द पास्ट, वी सी दैट द ओवरऑल ग्लोबल सिनारियो इज चेंजिंग वेरी फास्टली एंड अगैन अगर आप देखें तो दुनिया के अंदर जो तब्दीलियां आ रही हैं और जो इकोनॉमिक कॉन्टेक्स्ट में हम देखते हैं कि जो इम्प्रूवमेंट्स आ रहे हैं या फ्लक्चुएशंस आ रहे हैं, उसमें हमें बहुत सारे ऐसे के एग्जाम्पल्स मिलते हैं जो कि हमें पॉजिटिविटी और ऑप्टिमिज्म और अपॉर्चुनिटीज और होप के बारे में इंडिकेशन देते हैं. सो अगैन यू कैन सी दैट दिस इज अनदर इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग which needs to be looked at कि अगर हम पास्ट में जाएं तो वी सी दैट हमारे पास G8 था या G7 था, ग्रुप ऑफ 7 कंट्रीज जो कि सारे मेजर इकोनॉमिक डिसीजंस पूरी दुनिया के बारे में ले रहे थे, पॉलिसीज को, रेगुलेशंस को डिफाइन करने में मदद करते थे. और ये ग्रुप ऑफ 7 बाद में ग्रुप ऑफ 8 हुई, जिसको हम पहले G7 और फिर G8 बोलते थे, मगर अभी ग्रेजुअली आपने देखा कि ये G8 जो है ये उठ के G20 चली गई. एंड this group of 7 very rich countries were forced to embrace the countries that were developing, जो कि पहले कुछ अर्सा पहले डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज थे या लो इनकम कैटेगरी या लोअर मिडिल इनकम कैटेगरी में बैठे हुए थे. अभी वो मजबूर हुए कि उनको एम्ब्रेस करें, अपने साथ में लेके चलें, और G8 को हम देखते हैं ट्रांसफॉर्म होता हुआ G20 के अंदर. सो G20 का मतलब है कि बहुत सारे ऐसे कंट्रीज जैसे इंडिया, चाइना, फ्रांस, ये सारे के सारे, साउथ अफ्रीका, मैक्सिको, रशिया, ब्राज़ील, ये सारे के सारे कंट्रीज जिनको G7 कंट्रीज अपने साथ में बिठा के पॉलिसीज को, रेगुलेशंस को डिफाइन करने में पसंद नहीं कर रहे थे पास्ट में. हम देखते हैं कि नाउ दे हैव मूव्ड फ्रॉम अ ग्रुप ऑफ 7 टू अ ग्रुप ऑफ 20 एंड दे वर फोर्स्ड बिकॉज ऑफ द इकोनॉमिक हैपनिंग्स दैट हैव हैपेंड ऑल अक्रॉस द ग्लोब कि अभी उनको एम्ब्रेस करना पड़ा या अपने साथ में लेके आना पड़ा उन कंट्रीज को भी जो कि प्रीवियसली उन जैसे अमीर नहीं थे. सो वी सी दैट इन द वर्ल्ड दीज काइंड्स ऑफ थिंग्स आर हैपनिंग जो कि एक बहुत रैपिड चेंजेस को इंडिकेट करती हैं एंड ऑल्सो इंडिकेट करती हैं पॉजिटिविटी और होप को कि इफ यू आर एबल टू manage your things in a better way, you are able to enhance your potential, you are able to improve the overall output level. तो ज़रूरी नहीं है कि आप हमेशा से laggards ही रहें या लो इनकम कैटेगरी में ही बैठे रहें. If you are able to overcome these problems which you are experiencing at one time, और आप डेवलपिंग कंट्री हैं या लो इनकम कैटेगरी में बैठे हुए हैं, तो ज़रूरी नहीं है कि आप सारी ज़िंदगी वहाँ ही बैठे रहे हैं. देर आर positivities, there are prospects, there are opportunities, and there are examples also which we see जो कि हमें hope दिखाती हैं कि हम भी बेहतरी की तरफ जा सकते हैं और अपने overall economic conditions को बहुत ज़्यादा significantly improve करके G20 का हिस्सा बन सकते हैं. Thank you very much.